So here we've been going for a very Parisian look, lots of arches, lots of light drapery on the windows, and we use those beautiful fully upholstered chair. And there also one of my favorite pieces is this footstool, which we're using for the breakfast areas. We're using it in the hallway. I would say for the hallway, for the a small wardrobe room, this is a piece to go to. Every single time our clients are requesting at least some sort of seating in a hallway, and we found that this piece works the best. You will see it on one of the pictures. And then we see in the same product in a different setting, but this time it's also in a different color. And the table is also Liang Eimil. That project we completed a long time ago, when everything was still gray. It's different sort of luxury we had back then, but Liang Eimil was working back then as well. So again, as I mentioned, a little footstool next to the breakfast area. Our clients are quite often requesting to have a little breakfast nook in the kitchen. So that's again this little bench. It has some sort of teddy bear upholstery, which is really popular at the moment, and again is another sign of luxury. We're using this bench for wardrobes, hallways, and bedrooms as an end bench. Yeah, again, same chair, different settings, different color schemes, works very well in both. Also, what I wanted to mention about Liang, you do have a pretty good collection of small chairs for the bedrooms. Every single time we ask our clients where they would like to undress, or maybe where would they like to put the blanket they're taking from the bed or the throw, they all say they would probably need a little chair in a bedroom. So for all budgets and all the sizes, Liang get you covered. I just wanted to show what a mood board you can create from Liang Eimil website in 10 minutes. So that's one of the favorite pieces we have so far on the Liang website, edition from yesterday, because there's several new pieces which I do really love, and a beautiful new upholstery you introduced just recently, and a beautiful new finish, which I believe is one of the hottest finishes at the moment. Again, a regular mirror, again, little side tables, which you can also bring the luxury of your interior design scheme to a new level just by using some side tables. They're not expensive, but they bring the look up a lot. Then those like those artworks, I believe they are plaster, but Mandeep probably knows better what is the material. But it is again the same hot gallery look.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, again, those lights I quite like mixture of alabaster and metal.
Yeah.
Alabaster was a hot finish a couple of years already, and now it's still going strong. So I would still go for alabaster. Alabaster, I don't think it's aged even a bit. And then this quite interesting piece of art, which like I'm not sure, it looks like a bunny, like a little bunny to me, but like I'm sure everyone will see something else there. And I would definitely purchase it for one of my projects just to put it on a sideboard or on a pedestal, as I mentioned again. So I think it's yeah, it's all for us. So I hope you enjoyed
Oh,
it.
thank you,
I
Olga.
hope it was useful.
That was
I will
brilliant.
stop screen sharing.
Thank you. That was really good, Olga. Really pleased to hear how much you love our pieces. And as you know, we love your projects.
Olga, thank you so much. That's a really difficult presentation to follow, but do my best. I'm going to be talking about something slightly different. Olga has so perfectly explained how she injects that sense of luxury into her projects, and I'm going to talk about something similar, but maybe talk more about strategy, and how, as interior designers, we can, look at some of the basics of interior design and implement them into our projects for cost-saving purposes. As we all know, the industry is tougher than it's ever been. So we're consistently finding ways of creating a real luxurious look on a budget. So I'm just going to talk you through some kind of strategies and things that we do here at Heselic. We're also a super small boutique studio. We're an all-female team working on projects across the UK, Europe, USA, and the Middle East. So we keep kind of busy, but I definitely say that the principles across those territories are the same. So I'll get going. I'm just going to share this with you. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes. We can, yeah.
Okie dokie. So I'll quit the waffling. I'm going to be talking about the impact of furniture in transforming spaces, and doing that on a budget. I'll start with my covering image, which is a project of ours that we completed a number of years ago. And you can see in this picture, the reason I love this picture as almost like a bit of a starter is because it demonstrates that you can combine some real luxury pieces, some bespoke upholstery with some really key off-shelf pieces. So here we have the beautiful bespoke sofa that was tailored to the client and the armchairs, and then we mixed it with these off-shelf tables in a shagreen and bronze finish, and these little side tables also in a bronze finish with an antique mirrored top. And of course, there are artisans that you can go to that can make these things. But as a studio, we're consistently looking to find suppliers like Liang Eimil, where we can go out and they're looking at the market, looking at key trends as well as items that will last, and bringing something that interior designers can genuinely love and use in their projects. So the role of furniture, we all know that essentially it's serving an essential function. It's doing a job. It's a bed to sleep in, a sofa to sit on. But what we always say, our principle here is that we should use the client's budget wisely to ensure the correct sizes for optimum functionality. So for me, before we even start looking at what those furniture pieces are, we're looking what is the correct size and scale of the pieces. And I'm using this dining room as an example. The client wanted 10 dining chairs. And for me, a circular dining table with comfortable chairs really encourages amazing conversation. So it's functioning as a place to eat, but also a place for friends and family to gather and actually spend a long time in the dining room. We have a feature light above the dining table that is more of an investment piece, but it really anchors the scheme. And then, so I guess the dining table was the investment here, the light was the investment here. And then we were really careful with the accessories, the artwork, the picture light, just to enhance that scheme and really elevate the look and the luxurious aesthetic. Another project of ours here, which is a great combination, showing some off-shelf pieces with some integrated joinery. Of course, the office is serving its essential function. It's a great space to work from home because now we all live in this kind of working from home culture where functionality is key. We have to make sure that we're taking care of, hiding everything away in cupboards, giving the client file storage, but also making it an attractive place and an enjoyable, inspiring place to work. And then, of course, once we've sorted that functionality, we've spent our money on the joinery, we've spent it on the key piece, the desk. We're then looking at all of our supplies and saying, okay, how can we lift? How can we elevate this? And we do that by layering. It's the rugs, it's the wall lights, it's the artwork, it's the little accessories. You can see that it's just layer on layer of detail. But first and foremost, our philosophy here at Heselic is that we must look at the function over everything. Furniture for us as well as the function is also the aesthetic. Let's get the aesthetic absolutely right. So we've planned the space, we've put it all on a floor plan, the client knows what's going where. Next, what we're trying to do is convey the personality of the client. And of course, we're trying to do that on a budget. Sometimes we're furnishing super large houses and we've got to make a small budget kind of go a long way. And so there are tips and tricks for doing that. And the reason I've chose this image from our portfolio is because this is a really impactful room. It creates a real sense of opulence when you walk in there. And actually the furniture is very well chosen because the mood actually is created by the colour palette. So as a team, we said, how can we create this opulence on this budget? And we went straight away to painting the walls and the ceiling in a dark colour. And if you can be brave with paint colours, that's a really good way to create a mood without having to spend very much money at all. And then from there, it left us budget. You know, as Olga mentioned previously, you know, curved sofas are very on trend at the moment, and I think they're going to stay around for a long time. You know, the kind of circular bucket chair that we've got here, and then the organic shapes on the table. You know, you can look at Liang Eimil, you can look at, again, bespoke suppliers, but tap into the suppliers, tap into Mandeep, tap into, you know, your account managers and say, what's coming up next season? Because very often we're designing ahead. So we're consistently looking at what's happening, you know, what are suppliers bringing in, because we want to plan and integrate those amazing trends into our designs. And in this instance, in a super opulent way. Flow and layout, of course. So we've got the function of furniture, we have the aesthetic, but it's also about the flow. And Olga, again, mentioned, I'm going to tap into your presentation, Olga, where you said clients now are wanting even hallways to become, you know, a place we can hang out, and, you know, that they're actually saying something. And interestingly, the reason I chose this image is because it is a formal lounge, but it's directly off the client's hallway. It was a very open plan space. And the client felt that they needed the entire house to enhance their routine. And that's, again, something we're very focused on here, is how can the layout of a space enhance the way a client lives? And when you're on board with that and you can prove to a client that you're enhancing the way they're going to live, they're much more likely to invest in the furniture, in the accessories, in those, you know, in here there's lots of individual pieces. You know, for some people they might say, oh, it's quite busy, but for me, I love the balance. I love the two couches opposite each other. I love the little stools that can be moved around if the client's entertaining. I love the little side tables. Again, they can be switched out. These were, you know, off-shelf pieces, but you can choose to work with bespoke designers. But for me, because we had such a lot to do and a lot of furniture to put in here, we really had to mix it up. And again, I'll go back to colour. Like, we're very aesthetic. Everyone says, oh, all of your colour schemes are super pale. And actually, you can see on the previous page that actually we can sometimes be brave with colour. So one thing I would always say is get your colour scheme nailed from the start. And I'll come on to that shortly about how we approach that. And how we're doing the job of convincing the client to make the right investment. Okay, so strategies for balancing design and budget. I'm always really open and transparent as a creative director about how tough it is to run an interior design studio. It's more and more tough. We're consistently asked by clients, okay, how can I save money? How can we shave a little bit off the budget? And budget is the big bad word, the BBB, the big bad budget. But we do not start at Huselic. We will not start a project without knowing what the client's budget is. For me, if you don't know what the budget is and you don't understand where you're going with it, how can you possibly know what suppliers you're going to be going to? You don't want to design a scheme that's not in keeping with the client's budget, with their intentions, with their aspirations, and vice versa. We don't want to be excited about a project and design something amazingly beautiful, excited to present it, and then it's like, oops, it's way more than the client wants to spend. So first and foremost, understand what the client's budget is. And if you're new to the industry, analyse every single cost that's associated with furniture supply. It's not just a case of, oh, okay, Mandeep, can I have a price for that armchair? That's that much. And then you give that price to the client. Like, understand, what's the cost of getting it to site? Who's going to unpack it? Who's going to put it into place? And then with the client, set a budget range to guide those purchases. Really prioritise the client's needs and wants. As much as clients think they can, and we love them, of course we do, they can't have it all. Nobody can. So really work out an action plan with the client. What are your essential pieces? What pieces do we absolutely need? And then what pieces are we going to use later on to layer? And I would always say, remember at the back of your mind the function. So first and foremost, it's your key pieces. And then later on, we're just layering. educating your clients is a really, really important thing to do as part of this strategy for balancing design and budget. Discuss the value of investing in quality pieces, amazing fabrics. You know, Olga again so perfectly talked about what kind of fabrics we associate with luxury. Mandeep has heaps of fabric samples that she can share with you. Take them, show the client, look at them, compare them, you know, with some of your top end fabric suppliers, and work out then how you mix those pieces carefully. I would always say encourage timeless furniture styles that don't go out of fashion, but then also show clients how they compare these with more on-trend items. I've talked previously, and I'm a big advocate of this. Very, very often people in our industry talk about trend as though it's a taboo word, but don't ever be frightened of a trend. You know, ultimately we're led by, you know, interiors are led by fashion. Fashion is a trend and we're following those trends. So I think as much as you can, don't be frightened of them, but be careful to pair them with timeless pieces. So step one, research and plan. Completely understand the client's budget. Create detailed floor plans and mood boards. A way of balancing the budget with the client. And, you know, sometimes clients always happen to find more money if they're completely invested in the floor plans and the mood boards. It's impossible not to. If you put your heart and soul into creating something that's unique and beautiful, and tapping into all of your suppliers to do that as well. So contact Mandeep, contact your account holders, go to your joiners, you know, go out there and find the best products that you possibly can to create the best possible design. Design and shop smartly, upcycling, you know, we talked earlier about the client had lots of antique pieces. I love upcycling furniture. I love taking clients' old pieces and maybe refinishing them, sending them to a French polisher, putting new handles on them. You know, we talked as well earlier, you know, bronze and the brass that Liang Eimil do so well. You could pair a beautiful antique piece with some of their bronze in it, you know, and use it against an antique piece by just, you know, that possibly wouldn't work previously, but does now because you're putting new handles on, for example. Encouraging the client, like I've said, to invest in key pieces tailored to them that will last for decades, paired with some off-shelf, we call them here fillers. So here again, the bespoke couch with the bespoke armchairs, and then the off-shelf coffee tables and side tables. Another great way to balance aesthetic with the budget is to choose multifunctional furniture. Apologies, these are just some iPhone snaps of this project. We've not photographed it professionally yet, but the reason I wanted to show it you was because, you know, you can see here we've got the little side table that's attached to the couch that operates as storage for the children's toys. We've got this console table at the back here that's also offering up storage. We've got the ottoman with the lift up tray. So, you know, clients, when they can see that a piece of furniture is multifunctional, it's much easier to, you know, sell a bespoke product. And again, this is paired with some beautiful accessories, some of which are Liang Eimil, some of which are others. And you know, those accessories you can see on the shelves paired with some of the, you know, the beautiful bespoke items create a really elevated scheme. And then last but not least, I think what I would say, and I say this to my team, is be flexible in your design. Flexibility when you're designing really allows for experimentation, personalization. Really get under the skin of your client, understand what they want to do, what's important to them. You know, if you go to a client and they have a set budget and you're spending 80% of that budget on a sofa that they're not massively invested in, then you're really not personalizing your scheme. You're not understanding the client. You're not being flexible. So really listen to the client and empower them to choose furniture that they can swap in, swap out, and they can make for seasonal changes. This, for example, is one of my clients. It's at my client's home office. Those stools get moved around, the table gets moved in and out for meetings, the accessories, you know, each time we go, we're faffing around on the shelves. And what I love is that we're consistently personalising that space for the client without spending a huge amount of money. And I guess importantly here is that I guess this image as my final like closing statement is that you can see here, I'm sorry, it's quite cropped, the image, but here we have, again, a beautiful desk. We have an off-shelf sofa. We have some off-shelf stools. We have a beautiful marble table. And then we've paired it with some really beautiful cost-effective accessories. And you can see that the result is really one that feels elevated. And that is kind of budgets in a nutshell.
Thank you, Sally. That was great. Some really nice images shared there. I've told you before that I love all of the designs that you do. And yeah, I was quite surprised to see your project that wasn't neutral, because that you are really known for that. And I think that's a great thing, a great asset to have, to be known for something. But yeah, thank you to both of our speakers for today's session. I would like to open up the conversation for any questions now. I can see that Dasha, if everybody could pop them in the chat, and then we can go from there. So Dasha's got a question for Olga. So what would you recommend for starting interior designers to focus on in the luxe living interior? So that's to you, Olga.
I think what I would recommend is to conduct some research. So there's a lot of artisans who are selling their products on Etsy. There's a lot of vintage markets when you can get the beautiful pieces on a budget. I would just say go an extra mile. If you're just starting and you're aiming for a premium, you definitely need to understand how this premium is looking like. Definitely all those bullet points I mentioned, just use it as a checklist. And when you're designing your colors, like your interior design scheme, just go from one point to another point and just use it as a checklist. Say, do I have interest in shape? Do I have interest in lighting? Do I have a beautiful upholstery? And it's all tick, tick, tick. You will communicate it as a luxury, and the budget doesn't matter as much. Like we all know, the biggest spending pieces are actually joinery. That's new kitchen and new bathrooms. That's where all the money is going to. It's not accessories. It's not like loose pieces of furniture. It's not even curtains. Like budget right if you're new to the interior design career. And what Sally said is very important. Do you understand this budget? Create a projection. So we always use those specifications with the projections. Again, please don't forget, you actually need to deliver the product to your project. Again, what Sally said is absolutely true. At the moment, we ourselves, with all our experience, facing one massive drama on Chelsea Barracks. We're working in Chelsea Barracks, dream projects, everything is amazing. We have a very beautiful chest we need to bring to the property. And guess what? It didn't fit in the lift. People cannot bring it up the stairs because it's 300 kilos. We need to crane it in. Craning in is not a problem. We've done it multiple times before. But Chelsea Barracks want to be paid £2,000 for considering the crane. The crane itself is £300. We have it in the budget. Considering the crane for £2,000, we absolutely don't have that in the budget. So we're fighting tooth and nail to get that approved for less than that. But please consider, in every single time you communicate with the client, tell him we do have this specification for those beautiful products you really love, but please bear in mind the deliveries are not included. We have absolutely zero power over deliveries. And let's say you decided today you want all those beautiful pieces from this place and delivery cost is like £300, but then you just remembered you also want this beautiful little side table. And the delivery of this side table is £300. So just please make it clear, if you're not making like an order today, the next time you're delivering something, and it can be a little accessory, you will still have to pay a separate delivery charge. If you're working on a budget, those delivery charges will be summed up in the end, and it will be thousands of pounds. Those thousands you could spend somewhere else. So be mindful about that. You don't want a horrible conversation with a client about the crane. So try to conduct as much research as possible to save yourself from from crying on the balcony, as we call it. So that's my recommendation. Do the projection of the budget. Try to consider everything, deliveries, VAT, because sometimes you get in the bill, it's X VAT. So my best advice, please conduct research. Like find places where you can buy beautiful things, very unexpected things on a low budget, inject them in your color scheme. The less people, especially in our industry, we do know all the products in someone else's schemes. And as soon as we see one product we've never seen before, we're getting very curious about it. So again, if you go like an extra mile and source pieces no one's seen before. Yeah, thank you, Sally. Like your presentation was amazing. I think if people will be following your advice, they will save themselves from a hell of a lot of headache.
Yeah, Sally. Very very practical and quite a lot of good advice there for especially the new designer that may struggle to work out what is priority and what isn't. But I'm gonna wrap up today's session now, guys. We will arrange another one of these soon, and if it's okay with Olga and Sally, I will connect the questions with them so that they can speak directly, and we'll share all of that on our Instagram and our LinkedIn as well. So yes, thank you to everybody for joining. Thank you to our designers for creating a lifestyle out of our brand, because ultimately that is our goal, is to see a lifestyle from the furniture that we supply. And yeah, thank you again, and we will see you all soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, Olga.
Bye.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.